We're back in Pembrokeshire, continuing our exploration into the history and legends of ancient sites in Wales. And today we're visiting Garn Gilfach on the Pencaer Strumble Head Peninsula. Halfway up the southern-facing slopes of this bracken-covered hill lies a low dolmen, and on the capstone of this Neolithic monument are a large pair of roughly triangular depressions. The megalith is raised and supported on all sides, with the recesses positioned at the top and close to level. For much of the year they hold rainwater, as you would expect in Wales, but from where this has recently evaporated, the lichen has turned a ruddy hue, contrasting with the grey and motivating a morbid notion of what the voids could once have been drenched with. Over 200 years ago, when antiquarian Richard Fenton visited this dolmen, it was still commonly believed that sites like this were Druidic altars, used for rituals including animal and human sacrifice. And in 1810 he wrote, "On the upper surface of the Cromlech are 3 considerable excavations near the centre, probably intended to have received the blood of the victim, or waters for purification." In his report, Fenton calls this hill Garn Gilfach, and describes the existence of many more cromlechs on the hillside, some overturned and some in their original position. In the report there is no mention of the reddish colour that we see today, but his writings inspired further contemporary interest, and by 1870 other antiquarians were now referring to this site as Gilfach Goch, Little Red Nook, or Garn Goch, Red Cairn. Could these names have been inspired by these claret-coloured cavities? Welcome back to our channel, Corojacks, where we visit ancient sites and explore the history and folklore that surround them. Over the past year, we've visited what feels like countless sites in Pembrokeshire, but when it comes to ancient history in stunning locations, this county always has more to offer. If you're new here, then please do click on our logo down below to subscribe to our channel and start exploring with us. You can also head over to our Facebook page for a variety of daily posts, pictures and updates. And before we get back on topic, thank you so much to everyone who has already gotten involved. Your likes, comments and shares are really helpful, so thanks again, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Chapters are down below. Richard Fenton is generally described as a Welsh lawyer, topographer and poet, which somewhat overlooks his great passion and extensive writings as an antiquarian. He was often the first to properly record an ancient site, and it seems that was the case with the monument we are visiting today. So, en route to Garn Gilfach and passing through Abergwaun Fishguard, we decided to try and squeeze in a visit to Plas Glynamel, the home Richard Fenton built for himself, and explore how the construction of this impressive house reputedly led to Fenton's family being cursed.
It should be up on the left, I'm assuming.
Clearly, this Cromlech was fairly popular in days gone by, but today it seems to be relatively unknown, and many accounts online are of people saying that they failed to actually locate the stone. When we visited, the paths were completely overgrown, and a series of barbed wire fences, bramble and gorse hampered attempts to cut a straight line to the GPS location.
So you might go all the way around and you have to walk through stuff like this anyway. Or it might be easy to get to.
There are a couple of different ways up on the public footpaths, and we parked our car here and followed a nice clear public right-of-way up towards Garn Gilfach. To be fair, there was a sign on the first turning we missed, but we were busy chatting away, so we ended up walking up and around the north side of the hill first. But if not for this diversion, we would have missed the views from the top, and this stone. Although no longer standing very upright, it's labelled as a standing stone on OS maps, and is sometimes referred to as Lady's Gate or Garn Gilfach Standing Stone. According to Cadw, it's said to have been one of 2 around 300 yards apart, flanking a gate on the high road called the Lady's Gate. From the top, we made a couple of attempts to find a route down to the monument, but the uneven surface below the ferns gave way to deep rocky pits.
You need to get one of those dog carrying slings.
So to avoid an ankle injury while carrying 25 kilos of enthusiastic canine,
Seb said there's brambles, I don't want to walk.
we eventually accepted we'd have to retrace our steps. When we got to the right path, it was still pretty overgrown,
They're all quite overgrown, really.
and we were worried the monument might be completely hidden. But as we climbed the hill, we were relieved to see it rise from the bracken, nestled near a rocky outcrop with stunning views of the rich landscape. To the west, a meandering coastline draws your eye south to Carn Llidi on St David's Head. To the east, the rolling slopes, interspersed with rugged outcrops, lead up to the peaks of the Preseli Hills. Estimated to be from the Neolithic period, It's comprised of a large capstone, about 4 metres by 2.5 metres and 1 metre thick, and supported by a number of orthostats. Some have suggested that other possible uprights are the collapsed remnants of a dry stone wall. Richard Fenton's account, from his book A Historical Tour Through Pembrokeshire, written in 1810, is as follows. The side to the west of Garn Gilfach seemed to have been appropriated to Druidical ceremonies. From the many Cromlechs, some overturned and some in their original position. There is one more remarkable than the rest, a large unshapen mass of serpentine. Under the edges of it are placed 9 or 10 small pointed upright stones, embedded in a strong pavement, extending for some way around. These small supporters are fixed without any regard to their height, as only 2 or 3 bear the whole weight of the incumbent stone. On the upper surface of the Cromlech are 3 considerable excavations near the centre, probably intended to have received the blood of the victim or waters for purification, if, as it is the most general opinion, they were used as altars. This stone has a small inclination to the northeast. Its height from the ground is very inconsiderable, being scarce 1 foot high on the lowest end, and on the other only high enough to admit of a person creeping under it. The earth below is rich and black. I have since learned that the blackness I refer to appears to have been chiefly the effect of fire, as many bits of charcoal and rude pottery have been picked up there. A farmer informed Mr. Fenton that 2 or 3 years before his visit, 2 spearheads were found, laid across each other, and a knob of metal suspected to have been gold. The monument is set beneath the southern side of a rock outcrop, close to Garn Gilfach, and it's thought that the capstone was raised by undercutting and underpinning a natural boulder. Today, nobody really knows what these structures were or how they originally looked. Over the past few hundred years, we know they've been called graves, tombs, altars, shelters, and the list goes on. Nevertheless, as humans, we cannot help but attempt to categorise these structures and compare them to others. This Cromlech is seemingly similar to other sites we've visited, such as the King's Quoit at Menorbier.
Hey, nice.
Garn Wunda just over in the distance, and a few other notable sites.
Wow. Pretty impressive.
Some suggest these types of monument may be late Neolithic in date and represent a shift in construction methods. The close proximity to a rocky outcrop is also a familiar feature at a subsection of these sites. But was the positioning simply chosen for convenience, or is the outcrop used as some sort of dramatic backdrop? In 1936, archaeologist W.F. Grimes said that some ancient sites are linked together not so much by their possession of chambers or similar form, as by their choice of position. Outcrops of igneous and other rocks have been chosen by the megalithic builders as the sites under which to build burial chambers. In 2004, Cummings and Whittle argue that restricted visibility is a common feature among this group of monument, loosely classed as submegalithic. The authors compare these restricted view megalithic constructions with other types of monument of comparable age elsewhere in the UK, such as henges, which usually have a more or less unrestricted view all round, and suggest that selecting a location which created a strongly one-directional outlook was deliberate and possibly meaningful. In a publication from 2007, archaeologist and rock art specialist George Nash groups this monument as one of 10 Neolithic sites on Strumble Head that appear to conform to a number of architectural and landscape rules. This cluster includes the group at Garn Wen, Garn Wunda, Parker Cromlech, Fis Sampson, Carrig Sampson, Finon Druidion, and Garn Gilfach. Nearly all appear to conform to the same architectural rules and landscape positioning, each monument embracing the fertile lowlands north and south of an east-west upland ridge, which straddles Strumble Head. Excluded from the list, but forming part of the discussion, is the destroyed monument of Garn, which once stood between Garn Gilfach and Garn Wunda. The striking features of this Cromlech, however, are the markings on the capstone. Not only do we not know the purpose of the monument itself, there is yet to be any real explanation for the hollows on the capstone or their age. Rock art is found all over the world, with designs such as human figures, animals, objects such as boats, weapons, houses, to much more mysterious motifs open to interpretation. In Wales and throughout Britain, the overwhelming majority of our rock art appears to be what some would refer to as abstract. The most common motif across all rock art worldwide is the simple cup mark, seen at a few sites in Pembrokeshire, such as the Trefoil Stone
Yeah, you definitely need a good light to see all the
Cup mark.
and Trelephant, or this deep cup mark on the stone at Cerrig Gorff.
There's this stone at the bottom of the field. There's huge holes in.
So, what are these markings? Some form of rock art? Do they have a ritualistic purpose or a practical use? Were they carved by man, or are they simply natural features? We would love to hear what you think in the comments, and if you know of any similar markings on any other monuments.
Now say cheese!
Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.
Is he happy? Yeah, he's happy.